Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. I am Aaron Nix. Joining me to discuss the Royal Rumble, a little preview and predictions party before the big event itself this Sunday, is Sly Fox Sports Podcasting's own Jeremy Fox Miller. Welcome back to the podcast, sir.
Greetings. How are you all?
Oh, how are we all? I know I'm large, but I don't quite classify as you all, as in a massive group of people.
Oh, no, I was talking to the universe, man. I was talking to the universe. I'm breaking the fourth wall.
First of all, we call our fans the Wrestle Plug Galaxy because we're
sorry, the Galaxy.
Yes, and second of all I'm interested in is this Sunday, mate. There's only 5 matches currently set up on the card, at least according to Wikipedia, which is of course the most gospel of all sources. So we'll get right into it, shall we? Asuka and Charlotte Flair defend their tag team championships against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Yawn.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what? I think they're going to let Nia and Shayna take the titles back, and this is going to set up the Charlotte versus Asuka implosion.
Yeah, I kind of feel that's the case as well. And also, obviously, the Royal Rumble marks the official start of the journey, the road to WrestleMania.
The road to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and they're going to have it in an actual football stadium, aren't they? They're going to have it in the same place that the Super Bowl is being held, obviously.
Yep.
So I don't know whether they'll have fans in, maybe socially distanced.
They will.
Sections.
They did say they're going to have fans. They're not going to have full capacity, but they are going to have fans.
Yeah. And
they're also going to have the Thunderdome set up there too. So that way, if you can't be there physically, you can be there virtually.
Yeah, that's quite a nice idea, to be honest. They'll probably have a little mix going on. Should be quite an interesting setup. But ultimately, obviously, all eyes are on this Sunday. I think that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to pick them up again. They've kind of teased dissension between the two, but I don't really understand that because they're sorely lacking in women's tag teams. You're going to have to get the belts away from Charlotte Flair and Asuka going into WrestleMania if you want those belts to have any credibility left. Otherwise, they're not going to be defended at Mania. And in which case, what was the fucking point in the first place? So, yeah, and obviously being probably the first event where they'll have fans back for, well, nigh on just over a year, means that obviously, you know, they're going to want Charlotte Flair and Asuka doing, I would imagine, better things, although you never really know with Vinnie Mac around. So I'm gonna say that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retain 2 title matches and 2 Royal Rumble matches. On the title side of things, Roman Reigns defends his Universal Championship once again against that gnat that just won't go away, everyone's favorite Canadian, Kevin Owens.
As much as I would love to say Kevin's going to win this, it's going to be Roman.
Yeah, it's just a placeholder, isn't it? It's one of those stepping stones for Roman's bigger match at WrestleMania. It'd be interesting to see whether they opt to topple Roman Reigns at Mania or continue his unstoppable kind of streak. You know, he's
well, if what I'm reading is correct, yeah, they're going to topple him.
Yeah, I'm hearing that they have plans apparently for the Men's Royal Rumble, which apparently will upset a lot of people. But ultimately, I don't read dirt sheets like you do. I'm a mark. So, and I hope either way, I'm going to enjoy it for what it is because ultimately, there's a lot worse things going on in the world than the booking decisions of WWE.
Amen.
Obviously Roman Reigns is going to retain, but I expect this to be the match of the night. Just those two are fantastic at what they do. Roman Reigns is in the form of his life. Kevin Owens is absolutely on fire right now, proving to the world why he is ultimately, for my money, one of the most underrated wrestlers in the history of the modern era. So yeah, I expect this match to be quite good. On the flip side of things, we have Drew McIntyre defending his WWE title against Bill Goldberg. Aye.
Okay, I am going to throw this out there and see if you run with it.
Probably not, but go for it.
Goldberg beats Drew McIntyre and Miz cashes in the Money in the Bank to become the WWE champion going into WrestleMania.
Drew McIntyre retains. Plain and simple. Miz will wait until WrestleMania to attempt to cash in, I think, to make the briefcase feel a little bit more important. Because ultimately, I don't think Miz going into WrestleMania is the draw they want, and he's going to draw enough pay-per-view buys, particularly if he beats Goldberg in the process of doing so. And also, what does it say about your long-term booking if Drew McIntyre loses to Goldberg, who then gets beaten by a 200-pound soaking wet gibbon? I like the Miz. I just want this to be over and done with. Goldberg can fucking go away, which he won't. He'll probably be at Mania because ultimately, if they're using him for the Rumble, why wouldn't you use him for Mania? Unless he just wants the one payday and then goes away, which is what we're all praying for. But I think Drew McIntyre will go over. I think the idea is to build Drew even more to go into WrestleMania, where it ultimately gets shellacked by somebody, whoever that might be. Likely Lesnar. I don't know, unless Lesnar comes back and destroys Roman.
I hope not.
It feels that way. Maybe Seth Rollins will come back and then they'll shift him over to Raw and have him take it off with Drew. I don't know. They seem to be very hot on him. I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Rollins is back at the Men's Royal Rumble as well. But we're about to talk about that.
Yes.
But yeah, you've got Goldberg and then you've got The Miz cashing in on him. I've got Drew McIntyre retaining and The Miz looking like a twat as per usual. Knowing The Miz will probably still enter the Rumble just to annoy me. He's gone from being one of my favorite wrestlers to one of like the least interesting wrestlers. I'm sick of him.
Ever since him and John Morrison got together, he's become nothing more than a twat.
I actually think that's hurt him long term, having Morrison come back. And I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, Taya Valkyrie comes in and realigns herself with John Morrison, because I think you need to get Morrison away from The Miz rapidly. Ultimately, if I'm being honest, I don't care about the Money in the Bank briefcase. They've ruined it. They have just flopped and flipped and everything and reversed it, and then he cashes it in, then it doesn't count. That thing is fucking redundant to me. It's a joke. It was won because AJ Styles dropped it. And Otis just went, oh yeah, and caught it. Then Otis lost it because of his tag team partner. Then they just decided to fuck off Otis and everything they were doing with him. Then The Miz cashes it in and loses. Then he gets it back because Morrison apparently isn't allowed to cash it in for him. Technical details aside. And now I'm just like, great, the worst Money in the Bank holder of all time, and not necessarily because of who he is, but because of the way he's been booked. So let's move on to Rumble time. So obviously we'll have a prediction for who we think is going to win, and then we'll throw out who we think might be making surprise returns, or just generally making surprise entrants. Let's start with the women's stuff. I'm really excited about the women's Rumble, actually, because for me, where the women aren't booked so freaking obviously like the men are, it feels like a nice surprise with the women's Rumble all the time. I always feel like a genuine amount of women could win. I could see so many of them winning. And obviously, with Sasha Banks and Asuka kind of tied up as champions, kind of leaves the field open for maybe a surprise, or even then, even if it's not a surprise, like it's a Charlotte Flair or a Shayna Baszler or someone like that, I would consider Shayna a surprise with the way they've booked her so far. But either way, it's going to be someone who you actually like, who's credible, who is worthy of that main event spot, not necessarily some part-time wank pheasant coming in the men's. Who do you have winning the women's Royal Rumble?
Bianca Belair.
That'll please a lot of our fans. I know she's very popular with our galaxy.
I think Bianca wins. Bailey gets pissed off. They face each other at, say, Elimination Chamber
or
for the right, for the roadblock or whatever it is, for the right to face Sasha Banks at Mania, and then Bianca beats Bailey and then faces Sasha at Mania.
I think you can't really complain with booking like that, can you?
But that's too obvious, so we know it's not going to happen.
Just because.
But I still say Bianca wins.
Well, every single Royal Rumble winner I've actually liked in the women's. I don't think they've yet picked somebody where I thought that was shit. What'd you do that for? Asuka won it, obviously, which was fantastic. I believe Becky Lynch has won it. Charlotte Flair has won it. So, good choices all in all, I can honestly see Becky Lynch returning and winning this one. I've seen some imagery of her. Obviously, the child hasn't been born for too long, but if I know WWE, they will throw any kind of level of money, especially somebody like The Man, because they know she's such a massive draw on the women's side of things. I have fantasy picks. I'd like to see Ronda Rousey return and win it because I love Ronda Rousey. 90 is she smoking hot, and I look suspiciously like her husband, which means you're saying there's a chance. But ultimately, I think she's a massive draw. And if people can shit on Ronda Rousey all they want, but you don't get that triple threat women's main event at WrestleMania without Ronda Rousey. She was one of the biggest draws, bringing a lot of the casual fans, UFC audience, all that kind of stuff in. I don't think Charlotte Flair will win it just because she won it last year, although that would definitely upset a lot of haters, although I wouldn't necessarily be against it. I'm going to say Becky Lynch. I don't know why. It's just, I honestly don't know, to be honest. Now, who do I want to win? Shayna Baszler. For me, the best women's heel of the modern era, and frankly, the most underutilized women's wrestler I've ever seen. But ultimately she's going to win the tag titles. You think, oh, great, that means she's probably going to be tied up with some shitty tag team championship match at WrestleMania. At least she's on the card, which is better than nothing, I suppose. A good surprise pick for me would be Rhea Ripley, especially after she proved herself so well at WrestleMania last year facing Charlotte Flair. That match wasn't about, Charlotte Flair needs to bury her. No, that match was actually a tester to see how well Rhea Ripley would do. And ironically enough, a lot of people would argue they had the best wrestling match, especially the first day of WrestleMania. So for me, I'll stick with Becky Lynch, but my outside pick is probably going to be Rhea Ripley.
I like that. That's a good shout.
I'm also expecting a plethora of NXT's women in this because
I was going to say,
Sasha Banks is kind of tied up.
Who do you think is going to be surprises?
Casey Catanzaro.
Ooh.
Okay. Naomi makes a return at the Rumble.
Okay. Yeah.
Our usual Kofi Kingston nonsense, I think, or the thing is, right?
Yeah, because it seems like Casey is the new Kofi.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, between her and Naomi, I'd like to see actually both of them combine. I think they'd be an amazing women's tag team. But I actually really like Kaden Carter as Casey's partner on NXT, and obviously they're doing very well on the current product as it is. Wouldn't surprise me if Dakota Kai's in this. I think Raquel Gonzalez would be a really good pick just to come out and wreck shop for a bit before she gets eliminated. Maybe have her and Nia Jax squaring off, and Nia Jax like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And she's like, I'm the new hot in town. Like, you love them. You love it. There's always that moment in the Rumble where everyone's kind of wiped out on the floor, and then these 2 meter hosses like, you. And it's just like, it's easy booking. It works for the audience, and it's something that I'd be excited for. Who have you got? Are there any ones in particular? Oh, I should point out as well, Tessa Blanchard and Taya Valkyrie are kind of like my two, like, come on.
Well, I agree with Taya. I agree with Taya Valkyrie for sure. I think Ronda Rousey and Teal Piper.
Nice.
Those two have been training a lot with each other, and Teal is signed to WWE.
She made an appearance, didn't she, for AEW a while?
It would be very interesting to see if Ronda and Teal come out. I also agree with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. My other shock would be, obviously Rhea Ripley, but I could see them.
Jackie.
I could see them pulling out a rabbit out of the hat and bringing in, say, fucking Lita back for the dead.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Trish.
Well. Yeah. A little bit of a Legends term, Molly Holly. They did that, didn't they? A couple of years.
Mickie James.
Yeah, Mickie James, frankly, can still go. I don't understand why she's not used more anyway. I've noticed that she's been tweeting a lot lately about how, don't underestimate me, and the more you underestimate me, the more. And I think maybe she's sort of setting herself up for a little bit of a cheeky little payday. It'd be nice to see Mickie James return. I actually think this match will be really good. A lot of people give it stick. Somebody I expect to do quite well, not necessarily win it, is Dana Brooke. I think that she always tends to show up and show out a little bit in these. As long as Natalya doesn't win, it will be all good, I suppose. Natalya or Tamina? Nah. I think it's going to be Natalya and Tamina challenging for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Oh, God, please.
Because they've been showing them on SmackDown over and over backstage as a pairing. Oh, Tamina's underappreciated. Oh, you're the boat, Natalya. Oh, fuck off. On the men's side of things, which most likely close out the show, obviously WWE is doing its really damnedest to fucking ruin it all for us by announcing pretty much everyone they can. Edge was given away on Raw. Fuck off. That really angered me beyond belief. They're going to announce who's going to be the number 30 entrant on Backstage. Like, that is literally one of the biggest things. Imagine being the audience. You're sitting there going, oh my God, who's last? Who's last? It's normally someone shit. It's always something that winds you up like,
Dolph Ziggler.
It's always Big Show normally.
Yeah.
Big Show, Rey Mysterio, or Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, they're the three. It's like, who brings the most apathy out of our audience? Chuck them out last. It should always be, if you're expecting someone big, it should always be the biggest heel you've got, not some fucking job piece that nobody cares about.
Police dose number 30 this year.
But yeah, WWE not doing a great job with this, right? I'm still excited to watch this show. I think a lot of it has to do with obviously staying up with all the mates. We're going to have a big Zoom party going on or whatever and just having a laugh with it all. But ultimately, I must admit, there has been a bit of the shine taken off of it by the booking and obviously, I'm declaring for the shut up. Nobody cares. Like, fucking leave, literally have a surprise left in your life, please. Who do you think is going to win the men's Rumble?
See, there's so many good names that they could do with this. I'll throw one out there. I'll say Edge.
Batista.
Oh, fuck off.
I would actually piss my pants laughing. Do you know what would probably pop me the most is if Drake Maverick won it. I think that would just be amazing. He just wins it by proxy because he's out cold on the floor, and the other two that are left just eliminate each other accidentally or something. That would be great. I think Brock Lesnar. I think this is set up very nicely for Brock Lesnar. Vince has the world's biggest chode when it comes to fucking Brock Lesnar. He cannot help himself. My outside pick is The Fiend. But that all depends on what they do with him and Randy Orton. Wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to him and Randy Orton if The Fiend's going to win it. I think the idea is Randy Orton is eliminating. He's ferocious and enraged, and then all of a sudden he gets distracted, or The Fiend comes down and lobs him out, and that continues that rivalry probably. But I don't know. So that's why he's my outside pick, because I think that he's most likely going to face Orton again at WrestleMania in a goodness gracious, you've got one Great Ball of Fire match or something. I don't know. Fucking, I don't know, arson on a pole match.
Firefly Funhouse, Firefly Inferno.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually, if they go full cinematic with those two, actually, at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Have another Firefly Funhouse. And it would be a good way, actually, if Orton wants to take time off, or if he's finally going to sort of, transition himself away from wrestling. Be good to do something similar to the John Cena thing, where he kind of has a career retrospect with The Fiend taking him through all of it. I think that would be quite cool as well. I'd love to see him come out as like the Legend Killer, and The Fiend's dressed as like Triple H from Evolution or something like that, little throwbacks and stuff like that. I think there's definitely that in there if they want to use it. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Brock Lesnar just because. I've read I don't read many articles, but I do tend to every now and then just browse them for the State of Wrestling address, which we probably won't do this week because we've got so much going on in the awards podcast as well. And there's not a great deal of news, and ultimately there's going to be more news coming out of the Royal Rumble.
Well, there's the one big news that happened with WWE.
What, the MSK are currently facing Killian Dane and Drake Maverick?
No, that they have sold the rights of the WWE Network to Peacock.
Starting
in March,
NBC, right?
Yeah, so starting in March, you'll be having the WWE Network will no longer exist. It'll be on Peacock. No, actually, it's less.
Hello.
It's $4.99 a month now instead of $9.99.
Yeah, but think about the large audience that is now going to be exposed to it even more.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if you want the network, you have to understand what WWE is. With NBC behind it, all of a sudden, it's over all of their programming. And they'll get a little chunk of change for that. And I guarantee they'll get a lot more. And I think overall, and also they would have, because they've sold the rights, they would have immediately got a payday from that anyway, which means good news for the shareholders because they never share that money with anyone else. But it also means that ultimately, I think it's going to be exposed to a massive, massive audience. And, ultimately, you see what Netflix does. Like, Netflix has fucking hundreds of millions of subscribers. And obviously, it's not on a par with it, even though Michael Cole will insinuate on commentary every time, it's like Netflix, but better. Is it, Michael Cole? Is it better? No, it's not.
It might be now.
You never know. You never know. I'm still thinking Netflix will rule the roost. But yeah. I think this is good news for them. But yeah, I'll just say Brock Lesnar because I just know that WWE doesn't like me having nice things. I don't mind as well because ultimately I actually like watching Brock Lesnar in big money main events. You remember his match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31? Everyone
that was a good match.
It's arguably Roman Reigns' best match until he bumped into Jey Uso last year. I would think something along those lines. It wouldn't surprise me if that happens again. Surprise appearances. I think Seth Rollins makes his return. I was going to say Edge ages ago. Obviously, that's been ruined for us now. Damian Priest from NXT. Wouldn't surprise me if a couple of the other guys, maybe Johnny Gargano gets a little turn. I think the Undisputed Era, at least one of them might turn up. They put Adam Cole in it, I think 2 or 3 years ago, so there's no reason why they couldn't do it again. A very, very strange random pick. Maybe Samoa Joe has a little turn in the Rumble. Just because, he said, I'm not done yet. So it'd be nice to kind of see him. But yeah, I think Brock Lesnar.
All right. Another surprise that I'm thinking, John Cena.
Oh God, yeah, forgot about him. He's been quiet lately as well. There's not much going on the film front, so it's a cheap.
Exactly.
How about Rob Gronkowski? Oh wait, no, that's he's not playing in the Pro Bowl. You imagine
Gronk won't
Brady.
Be there.
Brady's like, oh, we're Super Bowl bound, and Gronk's like, I'll be back in a day. Rocks up at the Royal Rumble, like, oh my days. I think Bruce Arians will fire him on the spot. It would be quite funny, actually, if he brought the whole Buccaneers defensive line with him and they won the Royal Rumble as a unit.
Oh, Jesus.
In their home, well, not in their home stadium, but imagine if they won the Rumble and then they win the Super Bowl and then they get to challenge, like, all of them, the entire defensive unit versus Roman Reigns at the WrestleMania. Is his big comeuppance, Roman Reigns versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That would be so funny.
Oh, that would be great.
Brady gets the pinfall and retires as WWE champion and reigning Super Bowl champion.
Oh, Jesus.
Killian Dane, actually, another little surprise as well.
Huh?
Killian Dane, I think. They like their hosses, don't they? They like to use the big hosses.
I was going to say Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed would be a great picker because ultimately he's not doing a great deal. He's in this kind of quasi rivalry with Swerve at the moment. He's not really doing a great deal.
Maybe we get Aleister Black come back.
I was thinking that. I think Aleister Black is going to let his contract run out and then piss off so he can spend more time with his wife. Because ultimately, who doesn't want to stay at home with, Zelina Vega, aka Thea Trinidad every day?
Mm-hmm.
Seems to make sense. But yeah, should be a good one, shouldn't it? Who have you got winning? I forgot.
Shit. Who did I say was going to win? Edge.
Edge. That was it. You've got Edge. Yeah, that would be fucking awesome. But the thing is, I thought Edge would win if Randy Orton was champion. So,
but it seems like Randy's going to be doing this thing with The Fiend.
Edge versus Drew would be a fantastic match between.
I was thinking Edge versus Roman.
See, I don't want Edge going in against Roman.
Spear versus Spear.
Yeah, but Roman's Spear is better. The one thing I'm actually not a big fan of Edge's Spear. That's like probably the only thing that I don't like that much about him. Everything else makes me mark out like a child. But I just, as much as it'd be exciting to see Edge, and if he wins, I'll be very happy either way. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio entering his first Royal Rumble as well, most probably. So he'll probably, eliminate Corbin or something. Whatever. If I had an outside bet of people that I would like to see, I'd like to see Bobby Lashley get a push, but probably not going to happen. All the while he's United States champion as well. That's normally a fucking, it's kind of like a, I don't know what the term is. That thing when they say, what is it? A dead bird around your neck, but I forgot what they call it. But ultimately, that's kind of it. Huh?
A noose?
What? No. I said a dead bird, not a rope. He's not going to hang himself. Jesus. Yeah, but ultimately it feels like an albatross around his neck, I believe.
Ah, that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, whatever. Anyway, we'll leave it there, mate. Thank you very much for joining us to discuss the Royal Rumble. You're going to return for the Royal Rumble review straight after the pay-per-view?
I will be here.
It's going to be a busy night. And if for anyone who's watching, if you're watching it alone, maybe you're struggling or whatever, obviously at WrestlePlug social media, feel free to tweet along with us. That'll be good fun. I'll make sure that the Twitter account is available to quite a few guys so they can pull up their thoughts and tag their names as they go. We'll also have an Xbox Live party open, might have a Zoom party open, loads of different things. But ultimately, don't feel like you have to be on your own. But most importantly, enjoy the pay-per-view. Should be a good one. From myself, Aaron X, and from Jeremy Miller, thank you very much for joining us for this cheeky little Royal Rumble preview and predictions, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug.